Okay, well, I'm obviously back from Six Smokies already. And these videos you're gonna be seeing, we're gonna be blowing through these videos. These are the videos of me getting the car ready. I spent 2 months on my off days just working on this car, tinkering with it, trying to get everything, kind of some loose ends tied up that I didn't get to when I built the car a year ago. So I'm gonna be blowing through these videos on the stuff that I did pretty quick to get those on there, because I got tons of content that I recorded from the Six Smokies trip. All the traveling around we did, the drag racing, I've got in-car camera action, all that stuff. You know, the car wasn't blazing fast, but it wasn't even, kind of fast. It was around 960. It was the fastest time I got in the 8th. We're gonna knock that down though. Next time we go out with this car, we're gonna be probably in the 7s with what I plan to do to the car. But anyway, we're gonna blow through these videos of the days leading up to Six Smokies, and then we're gonna start popping out some footage of the trip and all the cool stuff that we did, all the really cool, awesome people that we met, friends we made, and we're just gonna be bringing that all to you here on Sparks and Grit Garage, and hope you tune in to see it. I hope you enjoy this video while we put these kingpins in the car. It was pretty time-consuming process to do it. And you can tell that by the length of the video. It's a little over an hour to watch the video. So I hope you stick around for the whole thing, because I learned a lot doing it, and you might learn a little bit too. So enjoy the video. We'll see you on the next one. We're moving right along. Now that we have the spring mounts all fabbed up and welded in, and we're good to go there, we're gonna get going on the kingpin bushings. And here they are. Here's the new ones. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but if you can, you might notice that the grease grooves don't go all the way to the top on these on either end. And that's because they have this hole here to where the grease is put in from the side. Using those holes, there would be a grease fitting here, and I guess over here somewhere, so that you can pump that into the side. But this has a threaded top on it to where there's a cap that screws in that has grease fitting on it. And I want to use that again. I don't want to leave that off. This fly is driving me nuts. We're going to take care of that here in a minute. But what I want to do is I want to take this little pencil grinder here with this little carbide ball bearer on it, and I want to extend these grease grooves to the top of these bushings on both ends. Now, really only need to on one end, because that's where the grease gets in. But me thinking that there needs to be a place for the grease to get out for it to actually carry through, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to extend the grease groove on the bottom out to the edge as well, so that there's some place for the grease to go. See that, what I've done there, and on this side as well. And that way when I put the grease in, it'll push down into those channels, into those grease grooves, and feed the bushing like it's supposed to. Now what I want to do is knock these bushings out, these old ones. I'm going to put a little bit of lead in on these. Looks like we are at 741 thousandths. So I want the hole in these bushings to be about 742, 743-ish. So let's see how close we can get to hitting that. I already know that it's not big enough yet, so let me turn this off. I want to preload the hone. So there's a treadle down here, right there. That's what turns the machine on, or that's what turns the spindle on. And that's also what actuates the plunger in and out that tightens up these stones. This is your pressure indicator right here. And what I want to do is step on this treadle with it, the machine off. You see it moved a little bit. What I want to do with it pressed all the way down to the floor is I want to turn this until it's reading 5. Both of these, this is your heavy pressure, this is light pressure. Both of those are at 0. We're not even into that yet. So we're at 5 right now. Let that drop all the way back down to 0. All right, turn this on. Get some coolant pumping. We'll go ahead and start working this around, working this back and forth. You can see that gauge dropping. That means it's taking material out. I'm going to stop at 3. Pull this off of here. And just check, see if our kingpin will go in there. It will not. And my bore gauge, the smallest, so I've got one that goes from 0.4, 400 thousandths to 700 thousandths. and then one that starts at 740, which is pretty close to where we're going to be when this thing's done. So we'll try to stick this in the other end. Still a no-go, but we've got a little ways to go. There we go. Run it back and forth some more. Got good cutting oil on there. We're right down to 2. Going in there now. Might be there, folks. That was good. Yep. We're in good shape. We're done. Now we can put the old wagon back together, at least the front axle. Move on to the small stuff. Okay, quick update here. My memory card filled up and I could not record anymore, but I went about another, that's just the way it goes. Right when you're at the end and about ready to wrap something up, either your memory card's full or your battery goes dead or who knows what. But anyway, I went ahead and like another 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe on these just to get them better, and they are definitely perfect now. These go right through there. Spin freely. The other one, same way. Just needed a little bit more finessing. I've got them all cleaned up now, and we should be good to go. Okay, one thing I forgot to do was to shorten the kingpins. As you can see here, this is an old kingpin out of it. This is one of the old ones. This is a new one, and they got this funky little recess on top, and that's where they've got a big thick O-ring that goes on there. And that's supposed to keep the water and debris and stuff out of the bushings. And I don't really like that. I don't think that's going to do it for me. I really like the way the factory did them, where they had the screw-in cap on top with the grease fitting on top of it. So what I want to do before we install this is I want to cut these down length. And if you'll notice here, come over here and look at this. If you line this notch up where the retaining pin goes, these are not the same because they're longer on one end than the other. That's the same way with this one. If you notice, this end is longer than that end. So what we want to do is we want to mark these, line these up with those notches all together like that, and then we want to mark these at the length we want them to be cut at, because these only go in one way. One end's the top and one end's the bottom. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and cut these down, and then we'll install the steering knuckles. Okay, now we're just going to go over there, cut these off with a bandsaw, come back, face them off with a lathe. Okay, now we head back over to the lathe, face these off. Once I dress these down, face them off, it's going to be back all the way to the case hardened edge again. So I'm going to use this little angle grinder, sander, whatever you want to call it, to put a radius on the edge of those so they'll enter back into the bushings easier. This is here I've already faced off. Good to go. Okay, just doing a little test fit here. You can see I have the steering knuckle just kind of slid on there with the spacer bearing in the bottom like it's supposed to be, just so I can put these up here and just kind of look. So the top of the bushing is about the top of this boss. Same thing as down there. And you can see, well, it doesn't line up, so the long side goes down. And that'll work out good. So I went ahead and marked these, T for top, B for bottom, as appropriately. And it doesn't look like I'm gonna need any shims in here. This comes with a pack of shims, little thin washers, shims, to go between this spacer bearing, whatever it is, and the bottom part of the steering knuckle. But this thing's in really good shape. It doesn't have any slop in it at all. I don't think I'm going to need that, any shims. So I think we're in good shape. So what I'm going to do is, don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, but on these spacers here, they're kind of, you can hear them shaking around. It's this outside kind of a encasement, stamped steel encasement around it, and then looks like possibly a two-piece, some type of spacer, bushing, whatever, on the inside of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm this up a little bit, and then I'm going to put it in some wheel bearing grease and let it cool off, and just so it soaks some grease up in there. And like I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but I just kind of feel like I need to get some grease in there somehow. and that might be the best way to do it. Well, I was overlooking the old cabinet for some grease, and I happened to spot this little doodad that I've had for about 20 years, and I used to use it quite a bit back then, but you know, I haven't used this thing in a long time, so I wonder if I can use this to pack these, get some grease in them. I'm looking here at them. See the back side, that's the side that goes down, this side goes up. I'm wondering if I can put them up in this, the upside, towards the top. And then crank this down on there and squeeze some grease in it. Let's see. Probably need to scrape some of this old grease off of here. And for that matter, I might be able to just put the grease on my hand and squish it in there like I do a wheel bearing. I don't know. Like I said, I just got here myself. So, first time I've done these. As much as I've done working on old cars and old trucks my whole life, I may have done these at some point in the past. But if I did, I mean, I forgot some stuff. So it's possible, and I just don't remember it. But my memory ain't what it used to be, folks. It's just a fact of life. Let me screw this down on here. Folks, that. And then screw that back down again. Screw this stem all the way down. And then screw that top cone down. Hook a grease gun onto there and pump some grease in there just to see what happens. Put this on here. Just have a look. I don't know if you can see down in there. See if any grease squirts out. Oh, there is grease squirting out. Can you see that? Look at that. Oh yeah. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Well, looky there. Let's take that loose and spin it a little bit. The old grease gun off of there. There was already a little bit of that blue grease in there. We put red grease in on top of it, so you know what that means. Yeah, I think that is the ticket right there. We greased them bad boys up, or that one, lickety split. That means pretty darn quick. Let's do that other one. Get it centered up there. Try this again. Yep, squirting right up there. All right. I feel a lot better about that now. Said these old kingpin sets don't come with instructions. But I think that's meant to happen. It's just like I can't get a hold of it now. Right on, I like it. Okay, now let's go ahead and see if we can get one of these steering knuckles installed with the kingpins. If you come in here and look, see what I've done here. I've just marked a red line straight across that hole because, you know, we have this pin in the back. So the notch in the kingpin's got to go facing that way. So we've got a line on the top of the kingpin as well, just indicating the center line. And we just want to try to keep that as straight as possible. We have this spacer bearing thingamajiggy and our steering knuckle for the right side with the steering arm on it. Let's go ahead and get in here and see if we can get this up on there close enough to where we can possibly get this kingpin in. Oh, what I want to do, hold on now, getting ahead of myself. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease inside this bore. Just kind of want to smear that around, give the pin a little encouragement to go in a little bit easier. Okay. Now, get this side up because it says top. Okay. All right. Now, we have covered up our red line, obviously, but we do have a red line here on the outside of this knuckle, indicating where the center of it is. So I don't know if this will tap down in there or not. Going pretty smoothly. You can feel the other end of it. What I don't want to do is hit the other end of that bushing and push it out the top. I'm just going kind of slow. We got it. Okay. And we're gonna look through there. After we get this down there where we think it needs to be. Which that's got to be pretty close. And now we'll look through this hole. See if our notch is lined up. Looks like we gotta go down a little bit more. It looks pretty good. Now, we got to see if we can drive these in there. This out of the way. All right. This side might need a little shim. I don't know. Huh? Yeah. Might need to put one shim in here. Let's go get one. This is a pack of shims that came with the Kingpin set. I don't know if they're all the same thickness or not. Let's just take a look. Five. Ooh, that's a 1. See that right? No? No, it's not. These calipers been acting up. They've been thrown around quite a bit. Yeah, that's a 5. I think these are all 5s. So I've got 4 5/1000 shims. Let's see what kind of difference 1 makes. See if I can slide that in there. Yep. It's going. Yep. Might be able to get another one in there. Let's see. I don't know. kind of work it around. It's going. But we definitely are not getting 3 in there. Oh, that actually might be too much. Having 2. Yeah. Let's see here. There we go. Yep. Well, that might be good there. Let's see. We're in both bushings now. It is quite a bit tighter, feels like, from the other side. You can see you don't just fall one way or the other. The other side, let me look at it real quick. This drag link. Way freer. See, I'm gonna have to pop one of those shims out. I mean, this turns and it'll turn, but I want this thing to turn real easy, and that's adding quite a bit of resistance to it. You know, so we're gonna knock that back out, back up enough to where we can get that second shim out. I'm going to cut the mushroomed end off of this drift here, this brass drift, to where it'll fit up in there. I don't think it'll fit there. No, it does fit. It might be good enough. bit more. Okay, we're far enough out of there now. Now let's see if we can work this around. I might need to go a little bit further. Alright. Gotta be careful with those shims, they're pretty sharp. Let's see here. There we go. Now we're pulling that out of there. Come on, shim. Just come out of there. All right. There's one of them. Yeah, that's going to be way better there. Okay. I've got my pinky finger up in there so I can feel when the pin gets all the way down to the top of the second bushing. I can tap it and I can see if I'm pushing my bushing out, which I'm not. The bushing is not moving, but my pin looks like it needs to turn a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp these vice grips on here while I'm tapping it. I'm going to try to turn it. That's nice. That's just like the other side there. Okay. We're just gonna have to take a look and see where our notch is. See, make sure our notch in here in the pin is lined up with the notch in the steering knob. Got to get my brass drift back. That's beautiful. Okay. Now let's take a look. Let's just raise this up. It's really hard to see with the camera. Might have to go the other side. Does it look pretty lined up? I think so. I'm going to get a closer look without the camera in the way. I think that looks pretty good. Oh no, we were looking in the wrong hole. That's way off. It's still got to go down quite a bit. Okay. We were looking in the hole for the shock mount. Oh, what just happened? Got tight all of a sudden. Loosened it up. Huh. Wonder. Did I put the wrong end in there first? I thought I didn't, but maybe I did. All right, well, I've run into a little bit of a snag here. So this pin's in the right spot now. I've got this lined up, but at this point, for some reason, my spindle's locked up. And if you look here, you know, this right here is turning freely. So there's something binding up the pin with the bushings. I'm not really sure what's going on there, because it was still free when the pin was in both bushings, but when I pushed it all the way down to where it actually needs to be, it got tight all of a sudden. So it's almost like there's a spot in the lower bushing that's a problem. But I mean, I ran these pins both through both steering knuckles. I mean, they went through perfectly. So I don't really know what's going on here, but I'm going to have to take this pin back out and take the steering knuckle off. It drives in and out, and right there, actually it feels good there. But it's not down far enough to get the lock pin in. I don't know what's going on here. I've got the pin in the right way. I did verify that, which I was pretty sure I did. I'll knock it back up out of there. Do some investigating. Okay. Let's take a look. See what we got going on. Yeah, the shim's in good shape. Didn't push any of the shim down in there, get it off center or nothing like that. So that's good. Does look like there's a spot in the bushing that's wonky looking for some reason. I don't know how that happened. The pin slides right through, yep. Right till it gets to that point in the bushing. Right there, there's a, I don't know if you can see it. Somehow, we've got a, looks like a little flat spot in the bushing. I don't know why the hone wouldn't have taken that all the way out. That's definitely what's causing the problem. I might just need to come in there and grind on that section a little bit just to try to get it back in shape where it's like it's supposed to be. Because I don't want to stick this back on the hone. When I put it back on the hone, it's going to enlarge both bushings, and I'm going to end up with slop in the kingpin. Right now it's perfect. Fits perfect. I don't know how that would have happened. Unless I hit that, I may have, the first time I knocked the pin back up to look at it and see if if it was in upside down, I may have hit that bushing and damaged it. So, but it's not the end of the world. I can fix that, I'm sure. Just gonna have to finesse it a little bit. I have found out it's not the bushing, it's the pin. I don't know, I must have dropped this pin. I mean, you can't really see it, but there's, so if you put the pin in this way, goes all the way, enters in, it's stopping there, but it's not because of that end. Because if I turn this around, it won't go in there. And same thing down here. That end won't stop right here, but if I turn it around this way, it goes right in there. So I've got an issue. I don't know what happened here, but I don't remember dropping it, but maybe I did and just mushroomed a little bit. It's not a big deal. It's easy to fix. I'm just going to chuck it up in the lathe and I'll hit it with a file just right on the top there, just to try to round that back out. Up down here, I'm just going to touch this with the file spot right there where the ink got thin means it's mushroom right there, right on that edge. So what I'm thinking is, I didn't drop it. Where I hit it with a hammer, I didn't hit it square. I hit it kind of on the edge, and I mushroomed that edge a little bit. It's no big deal. I'm just gonna smooth that back out again. I brought my spindle over where I can double check it with the pen and the bushings, and hopefully get this line back out without an issue. Again, this pen is case hardened, so the file won't cut into the pen. We'll just cut that end where I cut the pen off, soft on the end there. Getting there. Still will not enter in. Should just fall through, but it won't. Piece of emery. Try to get right on that edge there. Almost go. must have hit that hard. I don't know. Wow, that seems like that's mushroomed down even farther. Mess around and ruin this kingpin. Once you take it off, you can't put it back. Like the old guy said, once you let the smoke out, you can't grasp it and put it back in there. Will go in now, but it ain't happy about it. Just a little bit more. There we go. It does go all the way through. But like I said, it is not happy about it. One direction there. Well, it's really unhappy. One direction. You can actually see right there where it is, about halfway around. I'm going to hit that with a grinder right there on the edge. Just try to dust that down. Grinder, I'm just going to try this stone first. It's a 600 grit stone. I'm just going to work my way around that high spot, see if I can just bring it down a little bit. And I'm trying to angle it to where I'm not getting up in here, because this stone will it will take a little bit off of that hardened material. Just going to have to try not to hit this thing quite as hard as I did last time. I didn't think I hit it hard, but I guess I did. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. Yeah. Hit this with this stone, a little bit right on the edge there. be there. All right. Looks like we're in pretty good shape. Let's go try this again. I'll try not to hit it that hard next time. It was a bronze hammer, so it was a soft, relatively soft hammer, but I must just hit it just right on the edge. So luckily I didn't do the other one that way, because I used the same hammer to put the other kingpin in, and it didn't do it. So just gonna be more careful. We'll make it happen. All right, let's try this again. Get our shim and our bearing back in there. Put this pen in my pocket. Okay, folks. A little piece of brass off that drift in the way there. There we go. That's more like it. All right. Now we got the long side of the pin facing down. It's right there close. There we go. There. Now I want to make sure I line this notch up. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Try to keep it right in the center as much as possible. Too crazy with it. Double check the bushing. Make sure that's still lined up pretty good. Okay. Still feeling good. still feel it moving. I believe we are in the bushing. Still feels good. Still feels good. Yeah, we're nearly there. We're about lined up too. Still good. Looks pretty good right there. Okay. Got good free movement. And if you come around here, you can see now that the notches are lined up. I don't know if you can see. It's probably hard to see. You can kind of see it there. There's a notch in the pin. That the notch in the pin is lined up with the notch in the axle. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can put our lock pin in. Now this lock pin is tapered. So it's smaller on this end than it is on this end. And it's got these marks in it where that was done. It's on three sides of it. It was done in a press, and what that's for is they just ran a chisel into it in three spots, and it basically displaced material to make it bigger even still. Normally you drive this in from the front, but as you might have noticed if you've been following my channel at all, this axle is actually turned around backwards, because in the Ford Econoline truck or van, the steering arm was over here, and the steering box came right down to it. You know, there was it was a different design that wouldn't work with this car, with the steering box that I had on it. It would have been backwards. If I'd left it on this side, turned the steering wheel to the right, it would have went left. So I moved it, flipped it around, moved it to the other side, and because of that, now when we drive these pins in, we drive them in from the back. When I turned this axle around backwards, I had to take the shackles from the back, which would have been, it was up here now, and move them to the other end, and vice versa. The bushing, replace all the bushings and all that, so it would work. But other than that, there's no difference. What we're going to do is try to hammer this in here with this bronze hammer as far as we can, and just see what happens. It's getting really tight already. We're going to keep going with it though. All right, I'd say we're in there. Knuckle still turns freely. We're good to go. Now we'll go ahead and put the front brake drums back on with the backing plates and all that good stuff, and hook the brake lines back up, and then once we get the wheels on it, or we don't have to have the wheels, but then we can bleed the brakes and possibly test out our line lock just to see if it actually functions. I know you're not going to believe this, but that's perfect. I've got 56.5 on the front side of the scales and 56 5/8 on the back side of the scales. So that's about an 1/8 inch of toe in, and that's perfect. I don't even have to adjust these. I just got lucky. So that's what I always say about a broken clock. It's right twice a day. So I got one more to go.